So in the previous video we had some bass, and I've put that bass line down, that C, G, A minor, F, that chord sequence. In this video I'm going to put the chords on. Now, what are chords? Well, a chord is two or more, it's technically three notes, all played at once. So guitarists play chords and pianists play chords. You can't play chords on a violin or a trumpet or an oboe or anything like that. It is restricted to a couple of instruments. So let's have piano. Piano is the classic instrument that we all know, and it's been in existence for 300 years and it's still being used on rock and pop records today. So it must be a pretty good instrument. So I'm going to go plus on my tracks here, and I'm going to find, there we go, keyboard. Now if you go more sounds, you have a choice of instruments here. The classical grand is really good. It's such a good piano sound, so I'm going to go with that. Now I have a standard piano keyboard here, but fear not, you can get the same chord capability from the piano as you could from the bass by pressing this little button on the right. And that gives you the chords, very similar chords to, well, it's the same chords to what you have with the bass. And what you can do is you can do this. So it gives you the chords with just one touch. And you have two little areas here, because usually you play the piano with left hand, and then the right hand will play the chords, the left hand will play the bass, as it were. But we've already got a bass part, so we don't want to go too low on the piano because we don't want to interfere with that bass. Now, what you can do is you can have autoplay as well. Great, let's go with that. Notice that it sort of splits into two squares here, well, three actually. You've got the bass only, which is the left hand, or you can have right hand only. Or if you tap the C, you get both. There we go. So let's go with that. I'm going to record, so remember our chord sequence, we've got C, then G, then A minor and F. If in doubt, write it down. So I'm going to play that now, or rather I'm going to record. So same 4 clicks in and you'll hear the drums and the bass that we just used. Easy. Now, it's done it all for you, but at the same time, you are hearing the process of how a song is made up. So that autoplay that we just had there are a few different things you can have. If I do this, that gives me, an idea. If I use 2 fingers, I get a slightly different sound. If I use 3, can you hear it changes? It changes the chord halfway through. Pretty nifty. It's really nice piece of design, this, because it actually is very realistic in terms of what would be done in the studio. Autoplay 2 will give me different things. And autoplay 3 and 4. It gives me something sounds a little bit more expensive, but let's keep it at autoplay 1. Now, at the same time as using chords on the piano, I'm going to record another track, but this time on guitar, which is the other chordal instrument that we would find. So there's my piano track there. Notice also that the iPad will give you an idea. It'll play something, that ding, 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 ding. It'll give you that. But it allows you to change things afterwards by going into the edit window. So I can go in there and see, look at that, that is what the iPad has generated for me. But if I don't like a particular note, I can just take it away or make it quieter or make it longer or do absolutely anything. So I'll leave that up to you. You can play with that and have a look at your leisure. So I'm going to find a guitar now. Let's Let's have an acoustic guitar. Here we go. Smart guitar. Now at the top left here, it gives you an option on the sound that you want. So acoustic guitar with the same autoplay feature that we had before. There's such great sounds. Now if I go to here, I get a range of things. I get the acoustic guitar and then 3 electric guitars. So classic clean, for example. But what's to stop you using more than one? Don't forget the number of tracks you've got here. The number of tracks you have available is 16 of these instruments, or 32 if you're just recording with a mic. So it's really powerful. So let's see what autoplay 3 is like. Now this one's nice because we had the quickest note we had was half a beat. If the beat's like that, we had this. Whereas the acoustic guitar here is going. Now they're called 16th notes, so there are 4 of those per beat, and it's quite nice to have those little things that fill in the little gaps so that the drums are still carrying on nicely, but you've just got a little bit more. Be aware of complexity though. We don't want to make this too complicated. And ideally, if you were going to write a song, the verse would be simple and the chorus might have more layers or more instruments in it, and it might actually have more complicated rhythms. So we've got to make a chorus sound like a chorus, not just one thing. Anyway, I'm going to record some guitar and see how it goes with the piano. So the guitar was quite quiet. That's where we can do some basic mixing with GarageBand to play with the levels. So here we are at the end of this this final film about using GarageBand, about getting started with it. I've done lots of other more specific videos on GarageBand about, in-depth features of this. So please do check out my channel. But once you've got something like this in place, you're in business. So I'll go to the 4 things we've got. We've got the drums, we've got the bass, and we've got piano and guitar. So if I drag this little slider, there's a tiny little line in the middle of this page. If you drag it to the right, you get a load of volume levels. So the guitar was a little bit quiet, but the piano might have been a little bit loud. Easy. Just lower the piano a bit and raise the guitar slightly. See what that sounds like. Notice what happened with that guitar at the end. I let it carry on recording and it would just record indefinitely. So I want to split that. So if I want to get rid of something at the end, if I take the cursor, the playback sort of position, back to where I want to edit, I can click on this and it'll allow me to split the track. And you see a little pair of scissors there. And if I just drag those scissors across as I was just snipping a piece of sellotape, this becomes 2 separate pieces. You can see that this is lit and that isn't. So if I go to this now and then delete, it means that I've got a nice neat cutoff there. If I want to make this twice as long, let's say I'm going to do some vocals, for example, and I will show you this as an ending, because if you mix up your audio, which is things captured by a mic, with the GarageBand instruments, you can get something really nice and it sounds real because you're using a real instrument. So there's 8 bars now, or 8 measures. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of them and I'm going to copy, and then at the playback position that I've got here, I'm going to paste. There we go. I've got 2 versions of the same thing. This is a good thing because it allows you then to change little bits in the second time to make it sound a bit more interesting. I could have the guitar slightly different or the piano. You can also do this with sections on here, but sometimes it's easier to work if you're my age and you're used to working with an older computer or a tape recorder. It's nice to have everything as a sequence of events, but you can do this in chunks if you like. So I'm going to go now to a mic. I'm going to have another track and I'm going to use the audio recorder here to finish off with. So I'm going to go to voice. There we go, lead vocals. Now you can see a little meter here which is showing it's going in time with my voice. Oh, and as long as it's lighting up at about half of the little meter, you're fine. If it's too high, and it's going into the red, it'll sound really distorted and not very nice at all. So I'm going to take this slider down here. Okay, so I'm going to press record and then we're going to listen back to that with all the other instruments. Now we've got the drums, bass and keyboards, made a little complicated with acoustic guitar. We can mix the tune to our heart's content. I'm not very good at making things up on the spot. That's my brother's area of expertise. So if we go back now, you can see that there's a blue track there. Now what that is the vocal part, and it draws a nice sort of like a trace of what I did. Let's have a listen to it, see how it sounds. Now we've got the drums, bass and keyboards. Sounds a little bit boxy at the moment. Now the reason for that is it's got some effects on it. If I go into this setting here, there's more complicated settings here. Play with them to your heart's content. You can't do any damage, and also you can undo everything. That's the power of this. It doesn't matter if you get a sound that's not all that good, because what the iPad has done is just to record my vocals without any of the effects, and the effects are all applied afterwards. That's pretty good. So if I go to plugins and EQ, I'm going to switch off overdrive, enhance. I'm going to switch everything off apart from the compressor. That sounds good with a vocal. Now we've got the drums, bass and keyboards, made a little complicated with acoustic guitar. And there you go. Now, what do you do with your finished composition, with your masterpiece? What you do is you close it down. Oh, sorry, you go to My Songs. Should know this. And then you just basically look at the song that we've just done. Here we go. It's this one. I lost it because I was looking at the other camera. So let's call that My First Go. First Go. Now what you want to do is you want to hear this on your phone or on the computer or somewhere other than the iPad or iPod on GarageBand, so that you can basically play this to your mates, or you can take it elsewhere. You can also share it with other people who've got GarageBand and they can add bits to it. That's the magic thing about this, is it's this community. So what I do is I go to select and first go. There we go. So it's now got a tick there. And at the bottom I've got something called share. So if I go share, it brings 3 different options. The project is what you can give to other people who want to put some backing vocals, or somebody who plays electric guitar can play on this, or whatever. Song is what we want to send. Now it gives you a list of options with all these numbers. Just leave it as uncompressed, because that's the best quality. And in this day and age of lots and lots of memory on computers, it doesn't matter. You can use this. So I'm going to go share. And what it's doing now is it'll allow you to send it to iTunes or SoundCloud or whatever. Let's go iTunes. There we go. So it's now doing its thing. When it's done that, and next time you pair it up with the computer, or you can send it to the iCloud, you can listen to it on any device in the house. And there you go. So there is a bit of an intro to GarageBand. As I said, more complicated things you can find on my channel by just going to the other films that I've made. But I hope you have lots and lots of fun and you get something out of it.